Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya al mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah. Today I'm going to discuss about how we're going to implement the number 7 aspect of Maqasid Shariah, the foundational aspect of respect for human dignity, al-haqqul al-karamah. So what is important is that at the primary level, we must understand that human dignity is ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means Allah created us as a human species, and we are created into tribes and religion and races and so on, so that we are to know one another, not to hate one another, not to destroy one another, because that is not what is the will of Allah for us to exist on this earth. That means we must respect human dignity, regardless whether they are Muslims, non-Muslims, whether they are of any religion or any race, whether they are black or white. We are all Bani Adam. So we have this Haqqul Karamah, which Allah has ordained upon us to respect and live within that framework. So what are the goals, hujiyat that we're going to do? First, we must understand within the context of the 21st century, especially in the Muslim world, this issue of gender equality. We are talking about equality in terms of being human beings, for example, but we have this very big issue, the elephant in the room, that very few Muslim scholars are willing to tackle. That is, what is the relationship between male and female within the context of the 21st century? In Islam, we are not talking about changing Islam. We are talking about how we are going to adapt to the 21st century insofar as how we're going to live with gender equality. And there are many frameworks within Islam which is gender equality friendly, which we can enhance, which we can create the Maqasid in terms of our secondary and tertiary and our amaliyat. For example, within the gender equality aspect within Islam, first, for example, Islam respect the right to own property. If you are male or female, you have every right to own your own property. And the female have every right to inherit from the father, and that property belongs to her solely. So these are value system that is already being developed within the framework of Islam that we can enhance. All right, we have the right to choose a spouse. We cannot force a lady to marry somebody she doesn't like. So this is also, there are many hadiths, there are many qiyas and scholarly work on this. So there is no such thing as forced marriage. All right, or honor killing, because you don't marry this so and so, we're going to kill you. That is jahiliyah to the extreme extent. All right, we also have equal rights to divorce with different procedures. So for Muslims, we have the male, they have the right to divorce. The female also have the right to divorce under different procedures. And there are many maqasid or many new ideas that is being brought forward in terms of, for example, the procedure for divorce. Is it just by announcing a divorce, a Muslim male can divorce a wife? Or what are the adaptation in which they can limit that? For example, that that divorce can only be valid in front of a court or a judge or law. There are many papers on that aspect that we can then develop in terms of the maqasid within a framework where there is no abuse, because the male of today maybe is not as good as the male of the times of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in that sense, this idea of talaq can be improved within the framework of a better maqasid within Islam. All right, we have the right to education. Every human being, every child must be sent to school so that they can have education and knowledge, so that they can live a good life in this earth and the hereafter, because Islam is a religion of knowledge. So you must have both the knowledge of the world and the knowledge of the deen. Then we have the right to work, and this is getting problematic in the 21st century, because not so far away from now, maybe 10, 20 years, 30 years from now, we have this whole technology that is coming in. For example, artificial intelligence and robotics technology is going to displace millions, if not billions of people in many fields. So where are these people going to fit in terms of this context of the 21st century when they're displaced? Is there a way out for them so that they have social safety network or alternative work in which they can have a decent, good, contemplative life, which is consonant with the need of Islam? So they have the whole society in terms of the arrangement of the society in the 21st and 22nd century will have to be changed, because this technology of artificial intelligence and robotics is going to make billions of work redundant. So there will be billions of workers, manual workers, for example, the robots will take over. The truck drivers, self-driving trucks will take over. Taxis, self-driving taxis will take over. Even, for example, accountants, even consultancy services, and so on. There are many, many areas in which, if we are to go through this 21st century, we have to be very careful insofar as the rights of human beings vis-a-vis the rights that maybe is promoted by the multinationals and by the gross capitalists, because they want to earn more money, they want to have more productivity, but at the expense of the quality of life of every other human being. So there must be a balance. I'm not saying that we should not embrace technology, but we must have a balance in which we must know what are the limits in which we can absorb, so that all humanity, there's 7 billion of us in this planet Earth, what are we going to do? So the respect for Hakul Karamah as a human being must be on the forefront vis-a-vis technology that we are going to develop that can be destructive to the way of life. All right. We also have to have the right to community leadership. All right. Equal rights to witness, which is limited in Islam for women, but then there are many other ways in which we can find a maqasid within the framework of Islam. All right. So that is the basic hujjiyat insofar as gender equality. The second basic hujjiyat is basically respect for all the principles of Islamic law, which include divine revelation, respect for human person, family and community development, environmental justice and development, economic justice and development, political justice and development, human dignity development, knowledge development. Then we develop the institution to carry all these ideas at Amaliyat, thousands and thousands of programs that will build a social consensus based on recognition, respect, and implementation of all our rights as Muslims, as men and women in Islam, as human beings, as the environment in terms of all the living creatures, the wild animals, the insects, the birds. Everybody has their rights. So in this situation, when we talk about Hakul al-Karamah, we are talking about a balanced ecology for all human beings to live in peace, happiness, and success in the 21st century. And we Muslims, based on Maqasid Shariah, can develop this framework. And there's a lot of research that needs to be done. And I encourage these young scholars who are studying Islam to find a balanced worldview and to also study other aspects. For example, if you are a good scholar in terms of fiqh, you also must learn, for example, secular law or sociology or psychology or any other field, so that you can then develop your worldview based on the realities of the 21st century. So inshallah, if we do that, we Muslims will be the true sincere servant of Khalifah, always striving to be good, making ourselves good, helping others to be good, and making the world good, striving to do the best, fulfilling the best, and receiving the best, inshallah.